and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We're going to be talking a lot of things today, including Short Fat Otaku. A lot of people keep asking me to talk about him. Every single time someone makes a video of him, it's like, V, what do you think about this? And once more people join the channel, once we got a few more listeners tuning in, I will tell you exactly what I think about him. Oh, look, the video that I made where I played the patriotic anthem of Syria that's no longer in vogue is unable to be monetized because of copyright claim. I didn't know that someone made a propaganda song for Syria and then like actually copyrighted it. Like, that's interesting. Usually like those songs are free use. It's like, well, if it glorifies the dictator, why wouldn't you be able to share it? Anyway, you know what? Let's actually read some comment sections as a warm up. Let's actually see what people were saying in the previous live stream before we move forward, and that would be a good way to start the show and also get more engagement going. So this was the previous live stream that I did. Was a crazy one. I liked it. I think you guys liked it too. Got many thumbs up. So what does it say? There is a moral argument you can make here. Livestock animals. So this is about the guy that stole a pigeon and then took it to a kebab store. And I was saying the problem with that is a health hazard, but other people were saying it's animal abuse. And I was saying, like, you need to be a moron to think it's animal abuse. Like, you go to a kebab store to eat dead animals. Like, an animal being killed so that it's being eaten is not animal abuse. Well, depending on how you kill it, of course. But, like, you know, inflicting a mortal wound on an animal so you can eat it, like, I'm sorry. Unless you think that you want to cast judgment on over 3,000 years of human history, and now you're just the smart chicken little shit that figured out everything, and your grandparents were doing it right, then shut the fuck up, city dweller. No, like, if you actually take an animal and you eat it, it's not animal abuse. There may be other crimes, though, right? Like, if you take someone else's animal, if you take someone else's pet, it's a crime. So yeah, I disagree with any type of legislation. It's a health hazard usually, right? Because it's not checked. But someone said that there is a moral argument you can make here. Livestock animals were raised to be livestock and often given ideal lives until slaughter. In what fucking world? Jesus fucking Christ. If you actually go to one of those farms, they're built for efficiency. They're not built to provide animals with a decent life. No, like there are places where the pig is not able to move around. Like, it's fixed in that position. Like, the space is so cramped that literally the pig can only watch forward. Some of the chickens are being fed such garbage and such shit to the point where they're not even chickens anymore. They're like these massive corporeal manifestation of a bird that can't even stay up. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They have like spaces so close for certain animals that they put glasses on them. It's like, what do you mean they put glasses? Well, yeah, like chickens peck each other, right? Like, if they see it, they get territorial. So they have like these things like copper wires that go into their nostrils and then act like a pair of glasses so the chicken can't even fucking see what's in front of it. No, it's quite the opposite. If an animal is raised to a slaughter, it probably has like a horrible life. A lot of people don't know that because they're not interested. But no, like, I actually know what the meat industry does. I'm very aware. Wild animals are wild, but hunters can fail and go home hungry and must work for the meat. It isn't as bad as with the pet. The pigeon came over trusting the human. Trust is built... Oh my fucking god. What? We do not offer the same moral consistency to the animal. It's like if a farmer uses some corn in order to lure in the chicken before slaughtering it, I don't think there is an immoral act to be had. It's like the human is hungry, the human is more intelligent than the chicken, it knows how to bait it, so it's going to use everything at its disposal in order to eat the chicken. It's not like, oh my goodness, you betrayed the trust. What? It's like, if some dolphin regularly do tricks for tourists and locals throw them treats, they're later finding out some Chinese fishing boats caught and slaughtered them for meat. No, I don't think that China is bad. For, like, again, if you're consuming an animal and you're killing it for food, I don't think it's animal abuse. I do think it can violate other laws. Yes, like if the dolphins are a protected species or there is some protected water, that's a different conversation, right? If they carry diseases, like sure, but animal abuse, no. Unless you're killing it in some like manner that doesn't need to. Like if you can stun the animal before killing it, and you choose not to, then yeah, that would be animal abuse. Some German High Court ruled that kuf restrictions were not against its constitution. Yeah, but Germany is a clown car. There are cooking videos of pigeons here on YouTube. Funny enough, they all advise against city pigeons as the garbages they eat taint the meat. Well, this is exactly what I've been saying. Like, that is a health hazard, right? So, like, what the guy did in New York, for those of you who don't remember, there was a guy that had a kebab store and went outside, caught the chicken, took it to the kebab store, and assumingly served it to the public. Yeah, that is a health hazard. The problem with the vision idea is that you have to factor things like enemies countering you and losing momentum. If you go too slow, or that people in the future will see the vision drift. Okay, no. I mean, obviously, the enemy... Okay, so what I was saying is that if you're on a push for societal change, like major reform, you have a vision, which is like where you want to be 5 years from now, and then you have goals that can be achievable. The counter argument is that, well, the enemy can have a vision as well. But it's true. But it depends, like, what the goals are. And how you manage to outsmart your enemy. It's like playing chess. You can't just, like... Yeah, see, the left went, like, 20 years from going through gay marriage and all the way now you have, like, if you're against... Like, not even... If you're against the idea of having children being able to transition, you're a bigot. It took 20 years for them to reach to this goal, right? And you're thinking, no, we can just, and overnight, you just undo 20 years of hard labor. No, it's not going to work that way. America's gobbled the billions of passengers pigeons into extinction. Pigeons are now not as good. One day, in my favorite grocery store, I found rabbit in one of the random meat displays. Other non-standard American grocery stores I found there. Pigskin, goat pigs, blah, blah, blah. We still raise pigeons in England? Who told you that Americans eat possums? Nobody I know. American outlier. This guy is an unbeliever. You need to videotape yourself eating possum. Yeah, I will explain to you why you don't know Americans that eat possum. It's because you're terribly online. You're a city dweller. A lot of people fail to understand that there's every country has actually not one but two countries. Some countries have more countries, but the idea is life in the rural area is incredibly different than life in the city area. And so in the city, you will have people eating from the supermarket. Even if they want to eat a possum, they can't. But if you're in a rural area and you can set traps on your territory and shit, yeah, like why wouldn't they eat possum? They even eat raccoons, which is something horrible. I've heard people eating possums. Okay, let's talk about short, fat otaku. You know what? I'm going to get Artemis Fowl. I'm going to get Artemis Fowl. Because he is the one that challenged me on this. He keeps stirring the pot. He keeps throwing his American body, his city dweller American body on this shit. And he wants me to address the latest short fat otaku controversy. Every single time Ace 1980 uploads a new video about short fat otaku, someone is going to ask me, like, V, have you seen? And like, I'm not blaming Ace, right? Like, look at Ace. He's got a channel, right? He's a YouTuber. He's got 40,000 subscribers. He uploads a video about Splinter Cell. That wasn't the deal. 289 views, right? Not very popular. Like, I wouldn't be happy with this particular metric. Thief 2. Drunk Betty. 199 views. It's not very popular, right? Short Fat Otaku. 16,000 fucking views. 16,500. 3 hours ago, 5,000. I mean, like, it's clear that the market wants more short fat otaku, Right? Like, look, he's trying. Like, shy away and then called channel restore. No one cares. No one fucking cares. Short Fat Otaku, it's where it's at. Like, Short Fat Otaku is now driving the industry for this channel. He is helping the economy. He is pumping the wealth of Ace 1918. The day that Short Fat Otaku retires is going to be a day of drama and dismay and despair for Ace 1918. It's like, oh my goodness, our biggest resource, our production value has diminished. Like, we need the Canadian to pump that wealth, to get that neoliberalism going, to just churn in that money, churn in that cash. And there's nothing wrong, by the way. I'm not criticizing, I'm not diminishing what Ace 1918 is doing. Like, Ace 1918 is the type of man that Short Fat Otaku wants. He is the type of man that would make Canada great again. He is a staunch capitalist. He is looking at the market. He is seeing a demand. People are coveting for Short Fat Otaku criticism, and by goddamn it, he will deliver it, and he will deliver it better than I can. My fucking videos don't have this many subscribers, right? Short Fat Otaku appreciate. If Short Fat Otaku lived in a world where only Ace 1918s would be, he would be happy. Law-abiding citizens, staunch capitalists, you know, pushing that view of extracting the wealth, pumping the wealth. It doesn't matter if he's not Canadian. Like, at the end of the day, who cares? Canada is an economic zone. Everyone is welcome. Everyone can get there, like, as long as you're paying the taxes. Just pump that wealth to the Canadian system. Just get the dollar going. Get the dollar going. And support Ukraine. More weapons. More tanks. More planes. More bombs. More rockets. More. Just based. Am I describing the Canadian man accurately? All right. Chat. Let's go back to the real world. I'm going to stop doing the bit. Let's talk about what I think about Short Fat Otaku once and for all. Alright? Because I keep getting asked. Have you seen this video? Have you seen this thing? What do you think about... Okay, so I will now... Please clip me. Please, someone clip me and put it on Twitter, because this is my thought on everything Short Fat Otaku related, alright? Like, I will give you the answer for every single Short Fat Otaku controversy that existed, that exists, and that will exist. Are you ready? Okay. How many of you have been cat owners? Like, do you own a cat? And how many times have you seen your cat puking on your carpet? I mean, it's something that happens. You go downstairs, and there's a big puddle of puke on your carpet. And what is your reaction to that? Like, how do you feel? Like, you need to be a cat owner in order to genuinely understand the human emotions that go through you when you see either cat puke or cat shit or anything like that touches your carpet. You as a cat owner, like, you're like, oh, not again. God damn it. You know, like, you're not angry at the cat because you know it's an animal and it does things that animals do. Like it's the cat level. Like, you can't expect higher cognitive thought from it. But like, you know, you have to clean it up and you're like, oh, god damn. Oh, not again. You know, like that. That is how I feel whenever I see a Short Fat Otaku tweet. Like, literally, it's the exact same emotions that go through my head. The exact same experiences and the exact same feelings when I see Dev have one of his takes. It's like, oh, not again. Oh, Dev. Oh, god damn. Oh, really? Oh, he said that? Oh. And that's it, you know? Like, that's it. It's not an excuse. It's just like, I'm explaining. I'm trying to put into words the type of feelings and the emotions that I experience when I go on Twitter and I click on, you know, new notifications, and you scroll down the timeline and a thing from Dev comes up and you're like, Dev, You know, that's my, like, what do you want me to do? Address it. Like, address what? What am I supposed to address? There's nothing to address. It's a cat poop. It's cat shit on the carpet. It's like, it's not addressed. You clean it up and you move the fuck along. It's like, yeah. We're all here listening to you to complain about cat vomit. No. Chat, please explain to this gentleman. Like, apparently he doesn't understand. I'm making a very tasteful allegory. I'm choosing cat vomit so that it fucking etches into your brain, so that you remember it the next time you come into my DMs and ask me what I think about Dev's opinion, right? So when I think about Dev's opinion, and you're even trying to ask me that, I want you to get Vietnam flashbacks and being like, oh, cat vomit, maybe I shouldn't ask him. Maybe I shouldn't ask him because he's going to go in another allegory and it's going to disturb me. You know, like, that's why I'm making precisely this comparison. Am I saying I'll sweep for Dev? No, but it's like so many allegories. Like, at this point, it's expected. You know, he's going to do what Dev will do. Like, what is the purpose? It's like, it's kind of like, what was the name of that Greek person that was punished to push a boulder up a mountain? And when he would reach the top of the mountain, the boulder would go down and he would have to push it back up again. Why should I be that guy? Like, it's fruitless endeavor. Like, what exactly am I accomplishing by constantly, you know, pushing Dev shit up the mountain? It's like, can we now move on? Yeah, why should I be the modern version of Sisyphus? CGR 902. Hairballs are much nicer than Dev takes, though. Yeah, but like, the emotion is the same. It's the really? Like what did Dev say last time? Let's see. Ace 1918. Short fat otaku defends Ruby Ridge. He did that? He defended Ruby Ridge? Like, okay, so who pissed him off, right? Like people that annoy short fat otaku. Let's count them: firefighters, VTubers, people that are off the grid, and truckers, right? Like he's getting a list of people that I don't know what the fuck they did to him. Like, what did truckers ever do to short fat otaku? What did VTubers ever do to him? You know, like the list of, like, the bizarre rogues gallery of short fat otaku keeps expanding every year. But why though? But why? Brandon K, thank you for the $5. Dev's health and well-being is directly affected by the state of the Canadian government. Check on him. I'm sure he's not well. Look, man, I will explain the short fat otaku mindset, okay? The government is Jesus fucking Christ, alright? Like this is true for most people that don't have religion or any type of spirituality, right? Like, when a calamity happens, when a disaster happens, when something bad happens, most people pray, right? Like, they pray to Jesus, and they find hope in the prayer. People like Short Fat Otaku, they pray to the government. Like, the government is this all-powerful, benevolent, always benevolent entity that functions properly all the time with very little corruption to be had, and it just fixes people's problems, right? And you just need to pay more taxes, and the government never misinforms, never lies, unless it's a foreign government, right? Like, only Russia does bad things. Canada is different because of blood and soil. Like, the people that are born in Canada, they're just far superior than Eastern Europeans, right? Like, because they have a different culture. They have a culture of superiority, a culture of kindness, compassion, human rights, right? And this just doesn't exist in Eastern Europe. But in Canada, no, like, the people are good, and they create a government that's good, and everything is amazing. And so if the government says that someone is bad, you don't question it, you believe it. Why? Because it comes from the government. If I fart, it smells bad. If the government farts, it smells like roses. And when you have that mindset in mind, you can literally predict what Short Fat Otaku will think of anything. If you want my personal opinion on how to consume Short Fat Otaku content without actually going to Short Fat Otaku's place, create a bot, right? I go to ChatGPT, make a bot, and say, I want you to roleplay as a Canadian who absolutely adores the government. Everything the government does is good. Everything that goes against the government is bad. Only truth can come from the government. and then ask him questions, and you'll see you'll get short, fat otaku answers. I'm not even fucking kidding. Like, just try it out. God, I don't want to linger on short, fat otaku too much. He's going to think that I have something against him, which I do. He fucked up my D&D campaign. I don't know why, but he did. And as such, I have resentment and animosity and resentment that lingers. But other than that, I don't have anything against the man. I wish him luck. I hope he gets a lot of subscribers, and I hope to see less takes from him. But that's not up to him. It's up to the Twitter's algorithm, right? And the chuckleheads that keep pumping my DMs with shit that he said. I mean, Romania, you are also a rage reactor. So why are you resigned about Dev? Get so riled up about everyone else. He ruined my D&D campaign. What the fuck don't you understand? How can I explain this to you? Like, do you want me to write it in a fucking letter? He ruined my D&D campaign, and I am an extremely petty person, very vindictive, that holds a grudge. Am I clear? God. I need you to explain this RRR case for Dev. Even the government said that the government screwed up, but Dev didn't agree. No, we're moving past. Okay, we're done with Dev. Unless I get like a red super chat, I'm moving on. Hey V, what do you think about Dev State? Shut the fuck up. Alright. I'll talk about something else. Dude, I don't hold many grudges. I just have a couple. That is a legit concern over PewDiePie. Look at this, right? Like this is what pisses a lot of people off. Again, I don't care about the names. Don't like, we're not here to interact with the people we criticize on the internet, right? Like, just take it as a like don't take it personal. It's a concept that I keep seeing repeated over and over, right? So like, this particular person did nothing wrong. But here you have a meme showing how PewDiePie managed to score a W.
Yeah, your first soup game. Yeah. Did I wake you up from the nap? Look at mama. Straight from the movie. Yeah.
Right. And I see this being expressed a lot of the time. He is a weak man who ran away from his country. I don't give a shit. Like, here's the thing. He's from Sweden. Have you seen the Swedish government? I rest my case. If the government is going to consider the nation as an economic zone and is going to make propaganda, it's like, oh, we need to help integrate the new Swedes. Hold on, let me show you something that the Swedish government has pushed. Swedish government new Swedes. Is that still on YouTube? Ah, here we go. I hope it's not copyrighted. It shouldn't be, right? It's from a government.
Det finns ingen väg tillbaka.
There is no way back. The decision has been made. We have reached the point of no return. There is no more negotiation. This is what the government tells you, right? Like, listen. No way back. Sweden will never be what it once was.
Sverige blir aldrig som det varit.
Europa är i förändring och Sverige behövs som en trygg plats för människor på flykt.
Okay. Sweden needs, like this is required, demand. Look at the language they're using.
Nu måste vi söka vägar framåt och hitta ett sätt för alla att leva tillsammans.
Det är dags att inse att nya svenskar kommer att ta plats.
The new Swedes will claim their space, like the space will be taken. We're going to seize the spatial awareness.
Med kultur, språk och vanor.
Och det är dags
Bring
att
their
se det
culture,
som en
language
positiv
and
kraft.
habitats. Okay.
Att vara svensk måste få vara mer än hudfärg och
Right. Okay, you get the gist of it. And so my question is, if the government behaves like this and is treating the country like an economic zone where people are just cogs in a machine and you have to comply, well, maybe his solution is to make the immigrants more comfortable was for him to fuck off. How about that? Why should you have like this level of patriotism is what I don't understand. It should be a two-way street, right? Like, the government should be loyal to you and you should have loyalty to the government. If the government isn't loyal to you, what exactly should you keep staying there and be like an economic slave to keep funding the government that obviously treats you as a human resource? And so, I don't blame what PewDiePie did. And you know what? If many people would do what PewDiePie did, like if 20% of Swedes would fuck off, I guarantee to you 100% that all of a sudden, overnight, the politicians would rethink their course. They're terrified of that. They call it, well, in classic communism, they would call it capitalist flight. Now the new age of thinking is white flight or whatever the flight. They don't like the flight. They really despise the flight. Like, they cannot have their economic pay piggies if the economic pay piggy goes to another government and pays taxes, right? So, like, if people were to genuinely leave, and it would happen en masse, they would have to rethink their policies. They would have to go like, holy shit, okay, we actually need to do something for these people. But if you don't, if you just stay there and you take it like a good little bitch and you keep paying your taxes and you keep staying there, like, okay. You know, you can also vote if you leave the country, right? You know that? Like, oh, we're going to sit here and make change. Why can't you make change from the diaspora? Huh? You can make change from the diaspora. You go to another country, you get citizenship there, you still have your Swedish citizenship. And then you come back and you vote. Then you can make the change. It's fine. You know, you can vote from abroad. You can go to a diploma. What is it called? A diplomatic institution. An embassy. Fuck is wrong with me today? You go to an embassy, right? You go to an embassy and you vote every 4 years. Same thing like if you stayed in the country, but you're not contributing to that country if you disagree with it. Like if this is how they put it, like our leaders, if this is how they put the situation. It's like, you need to comply. Okay, I'll comply. I'll fuck off. How about that? And I'm not going to pay taxes to you. I'm going to pay taxes to a government that maybe respects me more. Then you have it. And then people will be like, oh shit, we actually have to win the trust of our people? Oh, we actually have to do something for our citizens? Oh, say it ain't so. Oh, say it ain't so. So like, if we don't do what they're leaving, oh my goodness, but they can't leave. They need to be patriotic. They need to support us no matter what the fuck we do to them, right? See, this is exactly what Stalin said, and this is why it pisses me off when I see like these extreme nationalists that like, no, you have a duty and an obligation to the World Economic Forum. You need to fucking stay in your country no matter. Listen. There's this anecdote with Stalin, and he picks up a chicken, and he plucks its feather alive. And all the other people around Stalin, all the officers and the Politburo, they're horrified. It's like seeing what they're doing to this animal. It's like it's plucking its feather. There's blood everywhere. Like, Stalin is now covered in chicken blood, right? And the animal is screaming. It's thrashing. And then it puts it down, you know? And the chicken is in incredible pain. It's in dismay. It's like horrified. No one gets to say anything because it's Stalin. And so he takes a hand of corn and he starts leading the chicken across the room. And he says, look, the chicken is the Russian people. No matter what you do to them, no matter how much you hurt them, at the end of the day, you keep them starving, and then you give them a little bit of breadcrumbs, you give them a little crumb of bread, and they will follow you no matter what. I don't like that mentality. You know, the only reason that I'm staying in Romania, because I had the opportunity to leave, is because I genuinely like the country. But make no mistake, if I dislike the country, if my country was similar to other places in the West or Sweden, I wouldn't hesitate leaving in a heartbeat. You know why? Because a man's responsibility is to his family. I would have took my family with me wherever I consider that it's safe and good for my family. The moment that the country would become unsafe, the moment that I would feel that my government fails systematically to represent me, the moment that I would feel that all of my grievances are being censored and disrespected, I would fucking leave. No fucking patriotism with that shit. It's like, if you want loyalty, be loyal to me. And so, I think that's the rational and healthy mindset for people to have. I don't think you can have a different mindset in the age we live in. Get on a fucking plane, you move your fucking ass, and you find your happiness, whatever that is. And I find it very bizarre that Americans, out of all people, would moan about this shit. all of you are colonists. Like all of your ancestors left Europe in search for a better life. So what the fuck are you judging others for doing the same? The entire America is built around that shit. Oh, some people were in Jamestown, didn't like it there, so they fucking moved to California. The entire American history is about living in your state for a better life. And you're traveling across the continent and you're going into another state. Like, there's people from California now making life a living hell for people in Texas because they're moving there. Fuck are we talking about? Oh, no, like, you know what? Just suffer. Just suffer and suffer. See your family being unhappy and all that shit. No, sorry, no. Absolutely not. You can't really change much from afar. And eventually you run out of places to run to? No, that's not true. That's not true. Like, the changes don't happen that fast. And as long as, you know, the things are stable, as long as you live, it's fine. You know, like, your kid is going to have to become independent and figure things out for himself. He's going to be smart like that, and he's going to figure out solutions. By the way, nothing is stable, right? Like, the idea that, like, things become worse as time moves forward is not true. In some places it becomes worse, in some places it becomes better. Like, there will always be a place that's better. Like, Eastern Europe was a really bad place 30 years ago. I gotta say, you know, not even in my wildest dreams, and I don't think I speak this for myself, but like, ask any Romanian, not even in our wildest dreams would Romania be as good as it is now. Like, if you asked us in 2010 how Romania would look in 2024, not even in our wildest dreams we would believe that we would have access to so many amenities, so many good shit. Like, let me put it this way, right? In 2000, like Romanians themselves do not believe how rich they are compared to the past. Because Romanians constantly compare themselves to Americans, they compare themselves to Japanese people, like you're comparing yourself to the top 5 world economies like you have access to an ocean and some shit. Listen, in 2010, most Romanians were concerned about how they're going to pay their electricity bill, how they're going to pay their heating, how they're going to manage to survive and put food on the table for the next day. This was systemic. People in the countryside, people in the urban area, like, this was legitimate concerns for many families. Now, it is, I think it's like a historical record low for the number of people that have had their utilities cut off because they couldn't make a payment. Most of the people in Romania own a house. They don't even understand that this shit is just not possible in places like Spain or the UK. I think like the last statistic that I checked was over 70% of Romanians own their house. Like try to wrap your mind around that shit. You know, like they don't know what's happening in Portugal. They don't know what's happening to Spain. They don't know what's happening in other places. Over 70% of Romanians own their own houses. Hello, Katniss. And then, when you see a Romanian saying that he is poor, what he is talking about is that he doesn't have money for a vacation, or that he doesn't have money for luxuries. Like, let me put it this way: the idea in 2010 that a Romanian could eat sushi every single day. Like, that's a luxury food. Like, back then, if you bought sushi, you were fucking rich. Like, this is like a conversation that I can't even have with the new generation. Like even the concept of going a day without eating is something that they can't even like, what is that? Like, that, they would consider that to be like a level of savagery beyond belief. Like, it's not even worth comparing, right? So, like, the moment you talk about food, most of the young people, they just don't understand. Like, what do you mean, like, unable to eat? It's like, no. But in 2010, that was a reality. Like I actually spent a couple of days in Bucharest eating bread with ketchup because I didn't have money. And a lot of people from my generation experienced that shit. And so, again, the reason I like my country is that I actually look at the big picture and I see improvement. I see that the quality of life is going up. Yes, there are other problems that didn't exist in the past. Yes, things are bad in some situations, and they may get even worse. But overall, when I'm looking at the trend, the lifestyle is improving. Will it keep improving? I don't know. But what I can know is that up until now, whatever happened, people made the right choices. When I finished university, well, actually, no, like before that, when I was young, in order, like it was called doing the Romanian walk. Whenever I was in a public transport or in a market or in a crowd place, every single time your hand had to be in your pocket, touching your wallet at all times. Because you are afraid of getting pickpocketed. I want you to understand now, in 2025, there are clubs and restaurants with big-ass flat screen TVs outside. So we're talking like seriously, can your mind from California picture this? You have an establishment with a big flat screen TV, probably worth more than $1,000, just staying outside, and when the restaurant closes, the TV is unguarded. Like the TV is just there, you know, like no one throws stones at it, no one breaks it, no one steals it. Like, you have the store closing down, right? The restaurant closes down, and the TV, the one that people who are outside of the restaurant get to watch football and whatever it is out there without any sort of protection. It's not tied. I mean, sure, maybe it's bolted to the thing. But, like, no one tries to steal it. No one tries to pick it up. No one tries to destroy it. And so, yeah, apparently, like, it is in some American states. But like, try that shit in Detroit, you know, try that shit in California, try that shit in many other places. V, please do not eat bread with ketchup. I'll give you more buyer's remorse to keep you well fed. Well, thank you, Zanothium. I appreciate it. But no, like, there was a time when I didn't eat bread with ketchup. It was the only thing that I could afford, so therefore. Oh my god, the idea! This still shocks my in-laws, and it probably would shock my parents too if my mom was alive. The idea that the new generation can order from a restaurant, not a fast food place, a restaurant, and you can order from a restaurant every single day, and you still have money. Like, they would not understand. Do you know how much a meal in Romania is? It's like $20. So, like, allegedly, if you so want to, like, many don't, but like, if you so want to, you can actually order for $30 every single day, and you can have a meal for two, and it brings you with the Uber Eats. It's like, here, restaurant made meal, $30, $30. It's like, Devin Shambles, his Führer resigned. Now we will be joining the Ukrainian army to have a reason to lick boots in the name of the economic zone. God. Mini Castro stepping down. 2025 is on a good start. All right, we'll talk about that. First, I want to talk about Ukraine. The war in Ukraine. It's getting bad. I think that because Trump is about to take office and there's going to be negotiations, what matters now is posture. And by posture, it means, okay, if we stop, like, you get Russia and Ukraine at the negotiation table, right? So, like, the conflict is still ongoing. It's like pausing a strategy game, if you will. And what people have to negotiate with is the vision they project to the enemy about the war status. It's like, okay, if the war keeps going, what would happen? And from the Russian side, it's like, how many men are they going to still lose, right? Because it's still human lives. Even if you're winning a conflict, it's still human lives. Like, it's still your soldiers that die, right? And, like, at some point, it's like, are we going to get the Pyrrhic victory? The economic damage that they're taking. Like, what will happen if America doubles up and doesn't just give money, but, like, gives better technology and more shit? What would happen if Europe puts boots on the ground? You know, like they will have to take that into consideration. While the Russians, the Ukrainians will have to take into consideration the same thing. It's like the human lives, the damage to infrastructure, so on and so forth. And so, before the negotiations, each side wants to push more. The problem with modern warfare, from what I can see, is that drone warfare makes it very difficult for the attacker and very easy for the defender. So as the Russians push harder, they're experiencing heavy losses. And as the Ukrainians push harder, because they're also invading Russia, they're going to experience heavy losses. And so it's going to be a couple of very bloody weeks until the negotiations happen. Why are the Ukrainians in Russia? Well, it's the same thing. It's the posturing, right? Like it looks for the international community that, hey, look, I mean, we did something, but it's also for the negotiation table. It's like if you have a ceasefire or whatever type of deal, the Russians are going to be, okay, well, fuck off from Kursk. And they'll be like, okay, well, give us this area on Donbass. And so the Russians want to push them out as fast as possible. A lot of people don't understand the whole situation here. They generally think that the war is about winning. I keep seeing this nonsense being spread online that the West wants Ukraine to win. And my question is why? Why would the West care if Ukraine wins? They want, and this is my opinion, of course, based on reading history and strategy and understanding geopolitics a little bit, as much as I can with my brain. But the thing with the West, this is how I view it. They, like, the United States doesn't view Russia as a threat. They're not threatening their world hegemony. They view China as the main antagonist. And so, if you were to have an alliance between China and Russia, that would actually legitimately threaten the US. And so they're looking at this as an opportunity that Russia self-inflicted upon itself to cause attrition for the Russians, to destroy their international standard, their international prestige, to cause attrition for the Russian men. And they can do this without using American soldiers. Without Americans actually dying, they can achieve this. And there is the guy, Russian Kreshaw, I think, like an American politician. The guy that has an eye patch, right? He literally said this. Like, he said it on Fox News. And people were like, oh my God, how can he say that? Well, he said what he is thinking. It's like the war in Ukraine is to prevent American soldiers from dying. So, like, they would rather send money to Ukraine so that Ukrainians fight on the battlefield, and so Americans don't have to. And so, as more the war goes on, the more profits are being made. America loves this. Like, they don't want it to be over. I mean, maybe Trump wants it to be over. I don't know. But they don't want either side of winning. They don't want Russia winning. They don't want Ukraine winning. They want it to be a forever war. And keep Russia bogged down in the shitter. So that it can make it very difficult for Russia to actually do something if China makes a move. The thing is, though, there's a lot of propaganda, right? Like when it comes to winning. There is the fog of war. Both sides, and this is true in any historical combat, it's true in every single time you have a conflict in human history. The reason it's called fog of war is because it's very difficult to tell which side is winning and which side is losing. Because the media becomes, during a time of war, becomes a state apparatus. And its whole purpose is to raise the morale of its own troops and to try and demoralize the enemy. This is why, during World War II, most Germans didn't know they're losing the war until the Red Army broke into Berlin. Because the media would still say that they're winning. And so, I can't know who's winning and who's losing. Because it's not just like, first of all, it's a war of attrition, right? Like, it doesn't really matter where the lines are, where the battlefield is at. what really matters is how much munition are the NATO's countries capable of producing every single day versus how much is spent. How long can Russia economy keep it up? Like, Russia is dealing with inflation. They're also dealing with very high interest rates. They're also dealing with their economy because, like, where are they going to sell their gas? Like, they used to sell gas very cheap, and now that's becoming a problem. And so it's very complicated to say who's winning and who isn't. Theoretically speaking, like, if you're talking from a logic perspective, Russia should win. Why? Because in a war of attrition, two things matter. Number one, the population, like the number of soldiers that you have. And number two, the number of artillery shells that you have. And logistically speaking, like, if you look at the map, Russia has both. However, there's also the problem that when you're attacking, in every conflict, when you're attacking, you're going to take more losses than you're going to actually score victories. It's just the way it is. The drone warfare makes attacking even more difficult. So they have to attack with bikes and very small teams and shit. And so, it's, again, it's very difficult to assess based on the information I have as a civilian who's winning. Now, if I was a general or someone, you know, associated with the Pentagon, they probably know. But I generally don't. I have no idea. YouTube refuses to notify me about your stuff. Well, Slixian, I'm sorry, and there's nothing I can do about it. Hold up, V. You're telling me the Kremlin didn't reach the same conclusion as you. What's stopping them from pulling out and not be bogged down, says Jacob. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of things. First of all, is the reputation, the standing, and the prestige, the sunken cost fallacy, the fact that there may be a civil war. Like, it's one thing if you win a conflict, and then you can say, well, like, look, we were fighting against NATO, we were fighting against the entire West, and so we did the best we could, but the sacrifice wasn't in vain. It's another thing if you start shit, and then you put a lot of human lives on the battlefield, you do a lot of crackdowns on free rights and stuff, on human rights and stuff, and then it turns out that you lost. Or that you pulled back. Like, I just want to point out, you know, why do you think Hitler came in Germany? Like, one of Hitler's main points of concern was that Germany surrendered. Well, it's not that it surrendered. It didn't do enough to keep fighting in World War I, right? So basically, that's what happens when you lose a war. You get other factions that are radical, that are coming from the upset populace. And it's not about Hitler, but it's like you usually get like a very charismatic leader that all of a sudden challenges authority. Like, there's a lot of reasons why they wouldn't pull out. But from what I could see, at least Russia is trying to negotiate peace. Like, right now, every statement from Putin that I've heard, and every single time that he went to negotiate, he says that the negotiations are blocked from the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are not denying it. So this is why I'm willing to believe, right? Like, if one side makes an accusation and the other side doesn't deny it, then, well, chances are it's true. The time we will see negotiations is when Trump gets back in office. So when Trump gets in office and the meeting with Putin happens, and it's going to be Zelensky, Trump, and Putin, well, then we'll actually see, and we can predict what will happen with the conflict in the long run. Personally, what I will think is that there's not going to be a peace deal. I think there's going to be, at best, a ceasefire. You may have like a demilitarized zone, like with North Korea, South Korea. And hopefully, whoever comes after Putin, like whomever that president may be, he is the one that's going to eventually have to sign the peace deal. But I just don't think that Putin is going to sign a peace deal. There's no way. It's not like the ego and stuff. It's it's kind of complex to explain how politics really work if you only saw politics on TV. Like let me put it this way, right? Let me explain how agitation and propaganda works. you know how North Korea is like this crazy place where Kim Jong-un is viewed as the god emperor almost, right? Like he's got all these mythical abilities and he's like the greatest supreme leader and all that shit, and he's got like a cult of personality, right? If you're Kim Jong-un, you would probably maintain the same. Why? Well, he inherited that from his father. And that is essential to keep people from assassinating him. Like if tomorrow, let's say Kim Jong-un would say, all right, well, we're going to open up North Korea. We're going to allow democracy and capitalism, and we're going to allow freedom. He would get assassinated. Like the people would have so much resentment for him that he would assassinate. So he has to maintain the facade. And whomever follows Kim Jong-un, it will also have to maintain the facade. And this is the same with what's happening in Russia. Like, once he started the conflict, once Putin went in, he has to keep maintaining the facade. You can't lose face, especially in a country like Russia. See, a lot of people think that Russia will be like a democracy like in the West, where, it's kind of like in America. Now you have like one leader, the next day you have another that have different opinions. No, that will never happen. Because of the country in Russia. Like if you have a leader like that, if you have a system like that, you'll have civil war. They respect strength. Like they want to see a strong man. That's what the people want. And so if you have anything else, they get assassinated. Yeah, Kim Jong-un did inherit the powers from his fathers, like Shazam. Poor Kim. I'm not saying poor Kim. Just so you know, I'm not saying poor Kim. I don't know. Maybe he enjoys it. I don't know. Like what I do know is that he studied abroad, right? Like he actually went to the West. He probably knows what the West is, and yet he still keeps his people in darkness with propaganda and with agitation. He may enjoy it. Like obviously, he's in a castle, he's surrounded by all the shit. He may enjoy that, but like what I am saying is that he literally, even if he wanted to, would not be able to drop the facade. So I'm not saying poor Kim, I'm not saying he's a victim or anything. I am stating the obvious. I am stating the fact that he literally, like if he was to remove what's keeping the regime together, he would get assassinated. And everyone of his kin as well. Russia needs a Kamala. Oh my god. No, it's like, see, when I was younger, I genuinely thought that people really like democracy. I genuinely believed in the narrative that democracy is the best system, and all the other systems are shit. And democracy is what everyone aspires to. And then when I grew up, I realized, well, it's not actually the case. What the case is that different people aspire for different things. So you look at the Palestinians, and they get democracy. And what do? They vote Hamas. They support Hamas. They like Hamas. And you can't force them to have democracy. If you give them democracy, they vote for Sharia. And so it's difficult to believe that people want democracy when that's not the case. Some people do. Like some people would not be able to function without a democracy. Like for Americans. For Americans, it would be inconceivable to not have a democracy. But then the reality is that for some other people, it's inconceivable to not have Sharia. And so it depends from groups of people to groups of people. Like some people just can't help themselves. Look at the fucking Germans. They made the European Union. Is it very democratic? Like they just, it's the people. It's the economic system that they prefer. And the question has to be, is that the wrong thing, though? And I don't know. For some reason, when we look at history, we don't judge people for having medieval kingdoms. Like, we don't judge them. We don't look down on them. But, like, in modern time, we do. It's like, why? Like if an entire group of people wants Sharia, and they want to live under Sharia, and that's their mindset, like they have their own country in the Middle East, and they want to live under the Quran. Why exactly do we have to force them to live in a different way? And what do we gain? It doesn't seem to make them happy. And when they get to vote, they vote for Sharia again. Supreme V, take my body. Thank you, Dirty Index. But yeah, like in America, it's different. Like imagine if you as Americans, right? Imagine like if in 50 years from now, America keeps going down and China keeps going up, right? So like you have like the Chinese system is now an economic powerhouse. They're a cultural powerhouse. They get to decide things around the world. They have the strongest navy, the strongest air force, right? 50 years, like hypothetically speaking. How would you feel if they came into your country and installed communism and said that, no, your democracy is wrong. We're going to liberate your people from the oppressive capitalist regime, and we're going to install our version of democracy. Like, you would hate it, wouldn't you, right? And so, if you go in the Middle East like George Bush and you try to install democracy, you're not really installing democracy, you're forcing it on people. Like, you're not convincing people that this is the way, you're forcing it on them. And it's not sustainable because the moment you leave, the moment you pack up and you take away your tanks and guns, people are going to do what they wanted to do, which is Sharia. Because Sharia doesn't allow them to let their neighbors not follow Sharia or die. There's different Sharias though. Like there's Sharias that practice the jizya and there's other stuff. And I understand where you're coming from. Like they are imperialistic oriented. Sure. But what I am saying though is that if you believe in democracy and you have democracy and then people vote for Sharia, what do you do then? It's kind of interesting. Because I was having like this conversation with many people. And they're like, wow, like these people from the Middle East are very difficult to understand. It's like, no, they're not difficult. They want Sharia. You don't want to understand. They're struggling to tell you this. Like everything they do, everything they say, everything they preach is showing that they want Sharia. Why can't you understand that? Like how more obvious can they possibly make it? And then there's like the other question. Oh, I love this one. If they didn't like it in their home, why are they coming here? To bring Sharia. What the fuck is that difficult to? They want to bring Sharia. They want Sharia there. They want Sharia here. They want Sharia every fucking where. It's not complex. It's not like, why are they? To bring you the Sharia. That's why they're here. But all of them? No, not all of them. No. Oh, come on. No, not all. No. But enough. You know, literally, it's like, imagine that you had the time machine and it would open to people that are stuck in World War II. And you'd bring Germans that are like refugees, you know, prisoners of war. You bring like the citizens that were suffering the bombs in Dresden and they're managing to go through the time machine and they're coming today. And it's like, well, if they don't like it here, they're complaining about our system. If they don't like it, why can't they go back? It's because they want to bring National Socialism. Why do you think they're here? Hey, if the Romans like Rome, why did they expand? You like Sharia, well, go home then. Well, no, but like, see, Sharia means that it has to be everywhere. That's what Sharia means. So it's not when in Rome, do what the Caesar do. When in Rome, you depose Caesar and you impose Sharia. They're very explicit about these things. It's not rocket science. Okay, the same way George Bush wanted to spread democracy throughout the world, the same way people from Middle East want to spread Sharia throughout the fucking world. Come on! The future is likely going to look at all these era political issues and chuckle how silly they were. I don't know. Like, if you want to see clown cars in history, look at the French Revolution. Like, that is like a big fucking massive clown car. But How do people look back on it? Do they look kindly at the French Revolution or negatively? To be fair, World War I is also a big clown car. See, that's another question. It's like, oh, why didn't they stop? What the fuck was it? The Battle of Verdun. Oh my god, the Battle of Verdun. How many men died there? I think like 300,000 or so. Can you imagine 300,000 men? Do you know how big that is? Alright, let me show you 300,000 men. This is a concert. It's not even like 20,000. Alright? 300,000 would probably be 100 times this. Like, this is how many men died in Verdun. Give or take. I don't know the exact number, but it's in the hundreds of thousands. And so they would send waves after waves after waves, and they would all die. Do you know what's something that they don't tell you in history books? When they went over the top, which is basically like getting out of the trench, they wouldn't charge the enemy line. You know, because when you see it in the books, it's like they're charging and they're going, ah! No. No, they weren't charging. Do you know what they were doing? They were marching. Like, imagine this. Imagine, like, you're marching and the machine gun fire can just... There's no cover. There's no nothing. You're marching. There's a reason for this, by the way, is that imagine if you're running to the enemy trench. Not only can you trip on various things, on dead bodies, on mud, but what if you arrive there first? Your teammates are back in the line. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to solo the entire enemy trench? So the idea is that everyone arrives together, right? So, like, the first lines, they get mowed down, whatever. But, like, more are coming, and eventually, you have the numbers to overtake the trench. The second thing is, you get tired if you run. You need to be rested when you reach the enemy trench. You're going to get into melee, you're going to fight, right? So again, 300,000 men. And they gave the order, and people were dying, and they kept sending, and people were dying, and they kept sending. And you know why they didn't stop? Buyer's remorse. Well, no, sunken cost fallacy. Sunken cost fallacy. Like, imagine if you stop after 150,000 died, and you may say, well, yeah, but like the next 10,000 would have been it. And this is why wars can't stop. You know, people ask me about, you know, Putin and Ukraine. It's like, well, we have history to tell us why wars don't stop. Dear Short Fat Otaku, don't pray to the government. Pray to chaos as I do, says Lixian. What do you pray to chaos, Lixian? Well, the thing that they did was they ordered... Well, there's many reasons of why they didn't stop. Oh, shit. Now you got me talking about history. I'll tell you. This also irritates me when historians ask, why didn't they stop sending men? And it's a huge crime against humanity. They should have stopped. Okay. The plan was that they're going to bombard the enemy lines. And then the damage that will done. So like they did one of the biggest bombardments in military history. Not the biggest, but one of the. And the idea was that it's going to do enough damage so that the attack that's coming would manage to overtake the enemy lines and destroy the stalemate. The problem is the bombardment didn't do that much damage. And so when the men started charging, they realized that it's almost as if the bombardment didn't happen. And so why didn't they stop when they realized that the plan wasn't working? Well, here's one thing that a lot of strategy games don't tell you. But in reality, most of the war is not won on the battlefield. Like, the battlefield is kind of like the finality of the industrial machine that we call war is the product. But the manufacturing of the product is equally important. The logistics, right? Like the supply. Like, look at this, right? Imagine 300,000 men, and imagine that this isn't, like, how many are here? I don't know, maybe 1,000? I don't fucking know. But it's like massive, like much more bigger than this. All these men have to shit somewhere. It sounds funny, but like, you need to create the logistics of where the men can shit. Like, you have to dig the holes in the ground. You have to dig the ditches. All these men have to eat and they have to drink. So you gotta create the logistics. They have to sleep somewhere. You gotta create the logistics. They have to be transported. Like, you're talking about trains and trains and trains of people. Then they need to be housed. They need to be clothed. Like, you need to manufacture helmets. 300,000 helmets with the technology back then. Insurmountable costs. And so, if someone ordered them to stop, after all the logistics were in place, after like the months of planning, after all the labor, like that person could have been court-martialed and executed. And then the technology in World War I, they didn't have, I mean, they had some radios, but it wasn't as like you can pick up a smartphone or you have a drone and you surveil the area. You generally don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, in some place, maybe the soldiers are actually getting gunned down. But in another place, maybe they're making advances and they're already behind enemy lines and now they're waiting for their allies. So if you try to stop the event from happening, you can end up with soldiers beyond enemy lines. And that really crushes morale more than actually suffering losses. And then it's the artillery. Like in World War I, again, they didn't have radios at the level that people will have in World War II. So like everything was like the train. It was at 600 hours. The artillery is going to bombard for exactly 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you will wait for 3 minutes and then the march will happen. Like, if something went off, like if you gave an order like that fucked with the entire movement of the trains, that's why they didn't call off the attack. And it really pisses me off when I see historians go like, why didn't they call it off? Why didn't they... Shut the fuck up. Let's talk about Trudeau. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that Trump managed to get Trudeau to resign. I don't think so. I think that the problem that the West has, and it's a problem that they had for a couple of years, is a crisis of legitimacy. And when I say the West, I mean like Europe, the United States, Canada. Like, we are witnessing the rise of the far right. And so what is the far right? The far right is the problems that the governments get sweeping under the rug. So it's happening in France with the collapse of the government. It's happening in Germany with AfD being the second biggest leader. It's happening in the United States with Trump winning. El Salvador, Argentina, like all these countries, including my own, like they had to cancel the elections. All these countries are fed up with the bullshit. And the bullshit is like failing to address the grievances of the public. Call it like every single grievance that the public has. So like the way modern democracy functions is that the top will tell you how to believe and how to be a decent person. And there's no negotiations, there's no difference of opinions, there's no, like, this is how we're going to do things. And if you disagree, you're a fascist, you're a far right, you're a racist, what the fuck ever. You're a bigot. But the bigots still vote. And so, this is what's happening. The bigots, well, actually, you know what? I think I can show it in a better way, right? Let me see if I can use this advanced Photoshop version, and I can show you like how actual politics, how I see them, right? So you have this part which is left, and you have like this part which is right. And here you got your extremists, right? Like you got your little extremists here. And I think like they're like 25%. And you got your extremists here, which are also 25%. And then you have the normies. You got the people in the middle. The people in the middle, I think they're like 50%, right? So like the people in the middle are more than either two groups combined. And the two groups, they're fighting to get the people in the middle. They're fighting to get this square. They're playing like the tug of war with the normies. So what are the normies? Well, the normies are like my wife. What is my wife? Well, my wife is the type of person that goes to work. She's concerned with the politics at the workplace. Like, she's concerned with her job, how to improve her skills. Like, she's reading about microbiology. She's trying to improve her job. She is concerned about the gossip at the office. You know, she may come home and tell me what some doctor thinks or what some patient said. And then she's concerned with stuff from the household. It's like, she will phone me. It's like, do we have enough milk? Do we have enough bread? Do we have enough rice? And she's going to do the shoppings, you know, and then come home. And she's concerned about how the baby is doing. And then she's going to ask me stuff like, when's the last time we saw our in-laws, and maybe we should pay them a visit. You know, that's her concerns. And then she's going to watch some show from Romanian TV about, you know, some, whatever it is on television. I don't know, Big Brother, The Island, some stuff like that. And that's her lived experiences. That's her life, right? And like her is the overwhelming majority of people. Like, in a country, most people are not like me, are not like Destiny, are not like Short Fat Otaku, are not like Sargon of Akkad. No, most people are like my wife. They don't care about politics at all. They will care about politics when it's election season, right? So during election season, my wife will suddenly spring up some political opinions. Some good, some not so good. But again, this is the majority of people. The people on the left and on the right, like these little lines here, they're the ideologues. Like, they're the ones with visions. They're the ones that have a say in how the nation should be governed. And they get to do shit. And usually, they don't actually manage to persuade people to come on their side. They manage to push the square to the other side. And this is something that I realized over time. It's quite the opposite, right? Because you think like they will try to attract you to their side. No, they're pushing you to the other side. And so, in Canada, when the cost of living goes to shit, when people are afraid that they may not have a job or that their kids may not have a job, when they're noticing that the grocery is becoming bad, well, the left is just pushing them to the right. It's the same with me when I was about video games. You know, I used to be the square. I didn't give a shit. And then the woke started lecturing about pronouns and about why we need more ugly women and why we need shit. And I was slowly pushed to the right. And if the right would start moralizing about fan service and I'm going to get Melanie Macked up my ass, I'm going to go back to the fucking left. It's really that fucking simple. And because this square is 50%, they actually do get to decide shit. If 50% of the people say fuck your ideology, they will fuck your ideology, because it's not just about voting. It's about consuming. It's about, you know, even leaving the country. Like, no matter what, like, if 50% of the people are upset, like they're pissed off with the government collapses. In any system, it doesn't even matter. Even in like the most authoritarian ones. Because again, it's not about voting. It's about consuming. It's about thinking, way of thought. Like even if let me put it this way, right? In Romania during COVID, a lot of people were pushed to the right because like the left was fucking with them, and they were like pushing the square to the right. And so if you're a police officer and you're trying to enforce laws, like the COVID mandates, you're trying to enforce them. If the square, like if you're in Germany and the square is on your side, like the square genuinely believes that the law should be enforced, you can enforce them. Like no one is. If you're in Romania, oh my fucking god. I'm not even saying about harassment. Like, I'm not even saying that people, which it was the case. Like, if a police officer tried to give a fine to a random person on the street during COVID, they would get pressed by other people. Like, they would form a mob around the police. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you harassing the lady? Blah, blah, blah. But people sued the police officer. Like genuinely, like, they filed lawsuits, not against the police precinct, which they may have gotten money out of it. No, the name of the... Like, he was the one being sued. Why? To send a fucking message. If you sue the institution, you don't achieve anything. It's just greedy. You're suing for cash. If you sue the actual fucker that's trying to push authoritarian bullshit up your ass, oh, you're going to see how they all fall in line. And it's like, oh, well... So they started going on back streets and trying to just get some people that were taking the garbage to get them into trouble. But that's why it happened. It's because the left pushed the square to the right. And this is what's happening in Canada. They pushed the little square all the way to the right. And it's going to take the right to push the little square back to the left. Most people, unironically, just want to be left the fuck alone. V, you'd make a great political strategist, whatever that means. I don't know. I don't play Hearts of Iron. I hate that game. Short Fat Otaku has to do the trucker vid now. Oh my god. I genuinely am curious. I think at one point he may actually do it. Look, I can prove to you that my theory of pushing the little fucking square is entirely true. Anna Kasparian. Right? So, like, Anna Kasparian was far to the left until the left policy started pushing her to the right. Like, the left policy started fucking with her life, and she was forced to get an electric stove. She was complaining about getting an electric vehicle. She was complaining about the crime rates and how she felt unsafe, and she went to the right. And I guarantee to you, maybe 10, 20 years... in the United States, the right will start their own fuckering because they can't keep themselves in check. They will stuff Jesus up everyone's throat. And they will start going, it's like, oh, we don't like this in entertainment. Oh, this is not Christian. It's not Christian. It's not fucking Christian. And then people are going to be, then we shall support the woke. Because fuck you, that's why. They just... It is what it is. The reality, though. Like, I will tell you what's happening with... the Melanie Mac shit. The reality is that they don't understand that the people in the middle, these ones, I don't know if I can use the word libertarian, but they're mostly apolitical. Like, they're legitimately the type of people of, let me just fucking grill. I don't care about the Roman Empire. Like you guys, you know, you from the left and you from the right, just do whatever the fuck you want with the Roman Empire. I just want to grill. And the moment someone starts fucking with their grilling, in any way, shape, or form, they're just going to go, oh, you're fucking with me? I'll fuck with you then. Tell me, who are your political opponents? I don't care. I'm not in an ideology. I just want to vote for the clown car to piss you off. And so up until now, the left fucked with the grillers, and the grillers went to the right. And the right believes that they own the grillers. They don't own the grillers. If they start fucking with the grillers will go back to the left. And they're still going to start fucking with the right, just like it happened during the Bush era. Why do you think that the Bush era got the Obama era? Because the Bush started fucking with the grillers. And then the Obama started fucking with the grillers. It's so obvious. Like, I don't even know how to mention. Like, it's just like, blah. Honestly, like, a lot more people care about politics because the woke fucked with their football. They fucked with their beer. They fucked with their targets. They fucked with all of this shit. Like, most people don't even care about the ideology. They would be fine with wokeness. They don't fucking care. They live on a farm. They can take care of their kids themselves. They don't need public school. They don't need anything, right? But because you go to their farm and you're saying, yo, you can't use this fertilizer. You can't use these seeds. You can't use this. You can't use that. They're like, you know, who the fuck are you? And who do you hate? So I know who to support. Then it is what it is, you know, that my political party is uncensored video games. Unironically, I'm just a gamer. I still just want people to be creative, and I want the 90s back. It's really what it takes. Like, I'm going to be complacent. I'm going to pay my taxes. I'm going to do everything to just give me the circus. Like, I can get the bread myself. Just give me the circus. Stop fucking with my circus. I'm a simple man with simple pleasures, but I'm very petty. Don't fuck with my circus. Leave my circus alone. Yeah, Peanut, another thing. Like, when they had to fuck with Peanut. I'm willing to bet that Peanut actually managed to flip one seat. Never had an administration impede on my life as much as Obama and Biden. Well, here's the thing that people don't understand, right? Just a moralist gooner. Dude, gooning does so much for the Romanian economy. There are 300,000 women involved in the video chat industry in my country. It would be an economic disaster for Romania if the gooning industry managed to flop. Because it's not just 300,000 women that are in the video chat industry. There's also the auxiliary staff. The people that are renting the studios. The people that are the managers. The Andrew Tates. The people that are, the cleaning ladies. So on and so forth. Getting rid of gooning would be disastrous for my nation. It would be the collapse of my Roman Empire. And as such, I did. Yeah, by the way, there was this outrage coming in Romania. That one lady doing video chat, I think it was OnlyFans. No, actually two. Two ladies doing OnlyFans managed to get into the Romanian parliament. And people were outraged over this. It's like, how? Oh, what does it say about us as a nation? And I was like, well, it says that we're a democracy. Because a democracy needs to be the window of the people. It needs to be representative. And if you have like 300,000 ladies that are doing OnlyFans, then it only makes sense that some of them should actually be in the parliament. Why? Well, no taxation without representation, fuck nugget. So like if someone tries to overtax these ladies or a law passes that would make their job difficult, well, why can't an OnlyFans girl go to the parliament, talk to their representative? She goes to talk to that one. She already understands the issue. She understands the problem because she did video chat herself. She's not going to be judged, mocked, or laughed at. She's going to be like, all right, well, what is the problem? Well, this law is being passed and it affects my business. I'll be like, all right, I'll look into it. And then she will be representing her constituents. Like, why is that a problem? Isn't that, no, like, why is it even funny? I don't get it. I think that a parliament should have plumbers, should have farmers, should have like every single member of society, regardless of what they are. If they're creating a legal activity that is permissible by law, I think they should have one guy that represents them. Yeah, I think I should have a YouTuber in parliament, for instance. So that if I have a problem, I can go and talk to a member of parliament and I wouldn't have to explain what a Patreon is. I wouldn't have to explain what an OBS is. Like, he would understand because he's a YouTuber, right? So he would get it. He wouldn't, like, judge my profession or anything. He would know what I'm doing and then will be able to accurately represent me. I can't imagine something so horrible, a brothel with civic power. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, during the interbellic period, Europe actually had brothels under the church. Not officially. But they would pay taxes to the church and the church would leave them alone. Oh my goodness. Oh, say it ain't so. Oh, Dios mío. It would bring the collapse of the Roman Empire. See, the thing is though, this is like the puritanical nonsense. I think that drinking, smoking, gambling, OnlyFans, all this shit are called vices. They're not to be encouraged. You shouldn't encourage people to gamble. You shouldn't encourage people to do OnlyFans. It's bad. However, if you want a free society, people should be able to do bad things towards certain limits. I don't see why gambling, which is something that actually destroys lives in Eastern Europe. Like, you probably guys don't know the damage gambling can do to a family that's poor. Like, people actually ending up homeless, people actually ending up destitute, families being broken, children ending up without parents because of gambling. And for some reason, I don't see a push against gambling. Why? Because it's not trendy now. No, now we're pushing against fan service. Now this is where the push is at. We're with the fan service now. All right. It's virtue signaling is what it is. It's like going on Twitter and having a take. Oh, I called other Gunners. Am I not a virtuous person? Am I not virtuous enough? Come on, give me the likes. Give me the like. Let me farm. Tell me the likes. The like. Why don't you live a virtuous life so people can admire you? Do you know who's a Gunner? Donald Trump is a Gunner. Isn't he married to a wife that had her tits exposed on a British magazine, or are we going to pretend we forgot that? So let me get this straight. No, this is what really fascinates me. So if in Romania, a lady that does OnlyFans is voted in the parliament, that's outrageous, right? Hello, Angry Jig. Like if a lady that's voted in parliament and she does OnlyFans is outrageous. But in America, when you vote for a guy that actually interacted with porn stars and married the version of the OnlyFans girls from back then, that's perfect. No, that's Christian. Christian more right wing. Oh, fuck off. The same thing with Andrew Tate. A lot of people like Andrew Tate. And I'm like, Andrew Tate is a pimp. Like, he facilitates this. He actually made it so that girls would do the OnlyFans before OnlyFans was popular. Like, why are you bragging about him? Yeah, no, like here's the thing. I don't like OnlyFans. I really don't. I think it can ruin lives. I will never encourage it. It's the type of thing that I will make sure that my son stays away from. Not as a producer, but as a consumer. Like I would be, in the way... when my son reaches 18, it's like, son, if you really are that desperate, at least go see a prostitute. Like, please, stop embarrassing me. Like, just go and pay sex for, like, normal people. Don't pay a virtual... Like, what is this parasocial shit? But all jokes aside, I do believe that it's a thing that's happening, and I wouldn't advocate for the banning of it. It's too tied to the economic system of my nation. It's I think like it's best if you can convince people not to do it rather than force them not to do it, right? So like if I have the opportunity, like I know someone in my family or a friend or someone that does it, I will try to see if I cannot persuade them to stop doing it. But to simply ban it at this point is like banning alcohol. America tried it. It's not a good thing. And you cannot ban pornography. I will tell you why. If in a maximum security prison, the most controlled space on earth where porn is considered contraband, and you still have porn, and you can't ban it in a prison, how can you ban it in a society? Kumar party is coming? Hookers have STDs? It's fine. I'll make sure that my son visits an expensive one and I'll test her. It's okay. We can work around that. We can find out ways around, like, the statistics. I know. Sure. And also, I was joking. Brian H1988. This is for all the solid takes over the years. Today shopping, a pig hair point out to her grandma, I need help with the racks. The world is healing. It is. And thank you for the donation, Brian H. But no, like the concept of banning porn. Okay, let's say you do it. What are the implications? Do you want an 18-year-old to go to prison with a sex crime because he watched adult pornography that's legal right now? Like, is this what we're talking about, right? So like some 18-year-old watches an OnlyFans girl and you want him to have a criminal record? Are you fucking insane? Do you have enough prisons for that? Like, it's $1 billion industry that you're trying to crack down on. We're talking about the adult legal stuff, right? Like that, just so we're clear. Because this is what some people are advocating for. Because if you ban it, then it means that you need a punishment for the people that avoid the ban, right? Like, if someone avoids the ban, you need to punish them. And the Americans did that. Like, you did it with alcohol. You did it with pot. I believe you're insane enough to try and do it. Even China does it and they don't enforce it. Unless it's politically motivated. That's how they do it. It's like if you become a problem for the CCP, they may scan your hard drive and find out that you're watching some, I don't know, Pornhub shit. And they're like, I want the OnlyFans girl to have a record. Well, okay, Solid Slug. Imagine you're a politician, right? And you make it so the Pornhub girl has a record. The moment that someone's daughter gets arrested, the moment that someone's daughter gets a record, they all fucking hate and despise you. And I know that it's trendy to believe that politicians shouldn't fear the people, but usually when you fuck with people's daughters and you give them a criminal record over trivial shit that the father doesn't agree that she should have a criminal record over it, you know, like certain things should be societally frowned upon, but they don't think that people should have a criminal record. Like, for instance, being a drunk, right? Like, being a drunk, I think it's horrible. I don't think it should be promoted. Like, being a drunk leads to drinking and driving that can kill people. It leads to domestic abuse. It leads to violence. It leads to a lot of things, right? I don't think, like, being a chronic drinker is a great thing. But at the same time, I don't think that the guy that makes alcohol should end up in prison with a criminal record. Like, fuck off with that shit. Although there are countries that do believe that, and they do enforce it. And I'm glad I don't live in those countries. The problem with the people that want to ban stuff are the people that are for small government. If you want to enforce your bans, you'll need a really big tyrannical government. Well, yeah, that's true. It's like, who do you think is going to enforce that? And why do you trust that the government will actually enforce it and not take advantage of it? Which is what they're literally doing in China and South Korea. Like, it's tolerated, everyone can do it, but like, if you actually get into a dispute with the government, if you actually get in trouble, what they do is they look into your records. And it's like, And that's another excuse to get into people's hard drives and to monitor the internet and to have like facial recognition and shit. What if you're watching pornography? Huh? I've seen too much drinker's liver that I drink very moderately. Oh god, it's horrible. Here in Eastern Europe, like I've seen so many cases with people that have hepatitis over drinking. Ugh. It absolutely ruins families. Ruins family, causes domestic abuse, especially towards children. The worst is when the person is going through withdrawal. So like they aren't able to get their fix and they start drinking heavily and then they stop. They become incredibly angry, incredibly irrational. It's horrible. A law that is not enforced does not exist. Yeah, but like, we're talking about enforcing it arbitrarily, right? So like, the law is there, and most people, they get away with it. Maybe they enforce it once or twice against some unlucky people because they want to show that the law still exists. And then they enforce it against political opponents, dissidents, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm going to go now and upload some videos on my other channels and hopefully have something to eat. And I'll see you guys later. Take care. How do you get hepatitis from drinking? There are there are several types of hepatitis, right? Like, hepatitis means the inflammation of the liver. You can get viral hepatitis, which is from virus A, B, C, and there's like some rare viruses, D, I think, like that's one from Africa. You can get hepatitis from toxicity, mushrooms, medication, alcohol, and I think like there's some genetic hepatitis, like autoimmune. So there you go. That's my medical lesson for you. You can get hepatitis from drinking. Yes, you need to be a chronic drinker though. You need to like drink alcohol consistently over a long period of time, and it fucks up your liver, and that's hepatitis. No, it's not. It's not all viral. Viral is just, again, hepatitis means the inflammation of the liver, which can happen because of a virus, but it can also happen because of drugs, medicine, toxic mushrooms, so on and so forth. Anyway, I'm gone. I'm gonna live it.